this case, we start, with voicing, place, and then manner of articulation uh, for that specific sound. Here we have a let's say this is where I consider this topic gets a little complicated. Okay, look at the definition, or let's say look at the explanation that is in the slide now. It says, in consonant feature specification, the features are stated upward in the same order of the features as they appear in the sound description. What does that mean? That means that the n sound is alveolar nasal. Look, there is no other classification needed, because hold on a second, just give me a second. There's somebody calling outside, and I'm not sure who he.
This you're going to put. So when we go to the consonant chart, it says that in this example, the sound N, it is a nasal and alveolar. So what we need to find is just like the classification, is it plus or it's minus?
Yes.
I mean, like to make it easier.
Yes.
Is that possible?
Yes, absolutely. When you're doing the sound description or the feature specification of the sounds, you can support your description in any specific thing that you may have, any type of material, supporting material that you may have. So don't worry about it. The idea is not just learning it by heart, but just knowing how to put that in the right order. So if you don't remember the place of articulation of a specific sound, you can just go to the chart, and then, oh, this is alveolar, this is palatal, this is glide, this is velar. So it's okay. So don't worry about it. You can check on the chart the times you need without any problems. There is, in fact, another chart I will share with you. I will take a picture and then share it with you. There is a chart with the plus and minus stuff, thing already put there. It might be difficult or simple depending on you. Okay, to just have, or that's that chart. If you find it helpful, just use it. If you find it too complicated, just use the list of plus and minus that I already gave you. Okay, so don't worry about it.
Perfect, bro.
Sure. So, okay, going back to the sound description, we have alveolar nasal. Okay, remember there is only one alveolar nasal, so I don't have to specify any other feature. When you go to the to the feature specification of N, right? The features, as you can see in this description, the features are stated upward. So you start with the first feature, which is alveolar, and then you go to the lowest part of the thing, right? The feature thing. So so you go to the lower part, and then you write the first classification or the first feature here, and then the second will go, upward. So alveolar nasal will be plus nasal plus alveolar. So it will go the other way around. So you can take a look at it as, the way you find it more, let's say, simple. You can either look at it as I told you, like the first will go in the lowest part, then the second will go, upward, and so on. Or if it is easier for you taking it this way, you can say, oh, instead of going this way, when going in feature specification, we go, from the back towards the front. So you can start, oh, nasal is the first, alveolar is the second, and so on. So the way you find it less complicated. But the idea here, and you need to get it clear, the idea here is that the sound description and the feature specification will have the opposite direction in both descriptions. Okay, sound description will go like this, and then feature specification will go upward. So that is just for consonant sounds, which I don't know why. Maybe in this case, linguists really wanted to make it more complicated. Okay. Any questions? So let me give you another example then. Okay, we already saw the description of this sound, right? We said that that sound is voiced, right? Alveolar, stop. Okay, right? Voiced, alveolar, stop. When we go into the feature specification of the, we will write exactly the same features that are present in the sound description, but in this case, we will write them in this, well, upward or downward, depending on how you take a look at it, right? So, as I said before, if it is more simple for you, you can start from the back towards the front, and then say, oh, let's start with the stop, then, with the manner, the place, and then the voicing, and then put them right here in the right order. Or if you want, you can start with the voicing, but then putting the voicing at the lowest part of the feature place. So it is up to you. Let's take it like this, from the back towards the front. So the first feature is stop. If you go to the list, obviously you don't have it yet because it is in the presentation, but I will give you that list later. If you go to the list, you will see that stop is minus continuant. That's the first, right? Minus continuant. That is the stop sound. The second, going this way, okay, we already wrote this one. Now we go this way. The second one is alveolar, so we say plus alveolar. And then here we have already the specification or the description for t and the. So we need to make a distinction between t and the, right? So the only difference between t and the, okay, is voicing. So if I don't specify the voicing here, then I'm specifying these two sounds. So I need to make clear that it is not t and the, but only the. So I write plus voiced. And now I have the feature specification and the sound description of this sound. Okay, sound the. If I change the for v, which was the other example in sound description, we have v, it is voiced. Now it is not alveolar stop, it is labiodental fricative.
How do you do, Professor, to master that without reading the chart? For me, it's like, oh my goodness. How do you do? What is the key?
It's just like any other job. It's like
Jesus.
if you work in a warehouse and somebody asks you for screwdriver, you know where it is. If I work there, I should just go like, oh, which one it is, like which size and which one you need, or it's just practice. So voiced labiodental fricative would be like this. We start. Yes. Okay. Yes. That's. Remember, that's what I told you before, right? So that's a voiced labiodental fricative. That's the description. But in this case, definitely fricative is not necessary because labiodentals are always fricative. Okay, there are only two labiodental sounds, and those two sounds are fricative. So the first one was supposed to be fricative, right? But fricative is not going to be specified here. Okay, I'm not going to put it here because it is not necessary. So we go for labiodental, which is the last, right? So labiodental, remember, plus labial plus dental. Okay. Now, with that description, I am describing these two sounds. Sorry about it. Okay. These two sounds, which are the two labiodental sounds. But I am not asking you about these two sounds. I'm just asking you about one sound, which is V. So we need to specify plus voiced.
In the case of T, then it would be less, I mean, voiceless, right?
Yes. If I say, for example, instead of, let's say, because I already have labiodental here, but let's say that it is F, just like the case of T and D, right? F is voiceless, then I simply write minus voiced.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
If it is the case that the sound is voiceless, so the description will be plus voiceless. Or
No. If it is voiceless like this one, then the description will be minus voiced.
All right, we will never use voiceless. Just plus voice and less voice.
Exactly. So you will never use like plus voiceless. Okay, right. Just like you would never use plus all the symbols or all the features that show in the chart I'm gonna give you, right? All the features that show minus, you cannot write plus any other thing, like stops, for example, continuance. So plus continuant, but stops will be minus continuant. So that one you cannot change. You cannot say just minus stop. I mean plus stop. So yeah, you just need to be clear about the different concepts that they use for the specification, and then just simply add the plus or minus for either absence or presence of the feature. Okay. Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
Besides fricative features, there is any other feature that it is not necessary to remark?
Well, the necessariness or not of the sound would be depending on the situation. Okay, like in the case of, I told you the case of sibilants, for example, where you have fricatives and affricates together, you will simply write plus sibilant. There is nothing else that you need to, for describing that specific group of sounds. In the case of affricates, for example, you don't have to specify affricates because affricates is it's a manner of articulation that only applies to interdental sounds. And in the sound description, let me write affricates, for example, right? In the sound description, if you do this, for example, right? This sound is an affricate sound, but it's also an interdental sound, right? So we go in the same order, voicing first to say voiced. The next is place of articulation. If it had been the manner of articulation, then I would have specified affricates first. But first is place of articulation. So I say voiced interdental. Okay, is it necessary to specify affricate? It is not necessary. Why? Because if you go to the chart, the consonant chart, and you find interdental sound, there are only 2 interdental sounds. And this one is voiced. The other one is voiceless. So you already have all the necessary features already described or already stated. Okay? So affricates is not, it's not necessary in this case.
Talking about dental and interdental sounds, it is the same stuff, Professor?
No. Is okay, dental.
It's like the mu the, like the.
Okay, dentals include. So dental sounds would be these sounds. These sounds are dental sounds. These are labiodentals, and these are interdentals, right? So these are dental sounds. So if I give you these sounds, don't break your heads trying to see what they have in common. They have fricative in common, okay? All of them are fricative sounds, but then they don't have anything else in common because these 2 are voiceless and these 2 are voiced, and these are labiodentals and these are interdentals, so nothing else in common except for the dental feature. So the sound description would be dental. Okay, these are dental sounds. And then the feature specification would be plus dental. Nothing else in common. If you want to say fricative, you can say fricative, dental fricative, but the only 4 dental sounds in English are all fricative, so you don't need it. With saying dental is enough. Okay?
So the same applies, Professor, for the nasal sounds, right?
Yes, exactly. Nasal sounds are three sounds in total, right? So if
M, N, and
if I write these 3 sounds, you don't have to specify place of articulation because all of them are different. Okay, bilabial, alveolar, and velar. You obviously the manner of articulation is the same, which is nasal, and then the voicing is the same because all of them are voiced. But if you write voiced, then you're specifying all the voiced in the chart. So in this case, we simply say nasal. Nasal sounds, specification plus nasal, and that's it.
perfect.
Okay.
I think I'm getting it.
Yeah, it's just a matter of practice, and don't feel bad if you don't remember by heart like some of the specification or some of the classifications. Honestly, I also forget some of them sometimes, so don't worry about it. When it's like a long time without teaching this subject, I have to study. So it's okay. It's impossible to simply just memorize everything just overnight, as we say, right? So don't worry about it.
Professor.
Yes.
Professor, could you explain the voice palatal fricative?
The voiced palatal fricative.
Palatal fricative.
Okay.
Yes.
Voiced palatal fricative. Okay. Well, you just said the description, right? So voiced palatal fricative. In this case, it is important to say that we need all the three features. The reason why we need all the three features is because if I say only voiced palatal, I am including all the sounds that have the palatal feature included. For example, if I only say voiced palatal, I am including also the voiced palatal glide, okay? And I'm also including the alveopalatal, which has plus alveolar plus palatal thing. So I am including all these three sounds. So in this case, fricative, by saying fricative, I am just, separating this sound from the other two palatal or voiced palatal sounds. So the three of them are necessary. So here, remember, consonant sounds, we start from the back towards the front, and then we say, oh, this is plus fricative, plus palatal, plus voiced. Okay? If I don't specify the voicing, if I only say palatal fricative, then I am including the voiceless counterpart, which is this. Okay? So voicing is important for this sound, this specific sound.
Okay, Professor. Instead of using the manner of articulation fricative, we can also use sibilant.
If you want to, you can say sibilant, but sibilant is a little more, wide because it involves two groups of sounds. But if you say sibilant, in this case, it's okay. Okay. In this case, it's it doesn't have any difference because there's only one palatal sibilant. Voice palatal sibilant, which is j. Okay, so it's okay. If you we try to go for the most simple classification or description. So when you say sibilants, you're like having it like very general. I mean, it doesn't make any difference. So if you say sibilants, okay too. Not so common, but it's okay too. Don't worry about it. Okay, any other questions? Okay, this is a case of consonant sounds. This is how consonant sounds are specified and are described in feature specification and sound description. As you can see, remember the sound description follows an order, and then feature specification goes backwards. Or if you want to take it this way, it's just go upward. Okay, so that's how it works. Okay, this is just a reminder with feature specification, as with sound description, both of them use only the features that are required to specify the sound or sounds called for. Okay, I mean, just take a look at the chart, see if the description or the feature you are specifying is necessary. If it is not necessary, simply omit. Okay, like in this case, I already told you about the affricate sounds. Voiceless, this is voiceless, right? Alveopalatal. Okay, alveopalatal. With this, you will immediately realize that there are only two alveopalatal affricates, alveopalatal affricates. One of them is voiceless and the other one is voiced. I am specifying that this is a voiceless one, so nothing else is necessary. So affricate, simply delete. Okay. Well, the the feature specification, voiced, okay, is at the end. Obviously, we start from here. So alveopalatal is alveolar plus palatal, and then minus voice because it's voiceless. Okay, let's see what happens now with vowel sounds. This is very important to notice. For vowel feature specification, the features are